All right. Uh, Gonna make a little video here about being debt free. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. Uh, Dave Ramsey's made that famous in the last, gosh, I guess 20 years. I think I started listening to him about 20 years ago. I think he's been around just a little longer than that, but I started listening to him back before he actually got launched again. All he was a guy that had written a book and was cutting up credit cards. Had big old scissors, and he'd go on Oprah Winfrey show and cut up credit cards. He had a little radio show. I don't even think he got back to $1 million yet. If you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, you're living in a cave probably, but go look him up. He's everywhere. Gets quoted all the time. And he's got great advice on how to get out of debt. I think some of his other advice probably needs a little work, but as far as getting out of debt, works very, very well. It's how my wife and I did it. What am I trying to say here? We implemented, sorry the word wasn't there. We implemented a strategy called forced scarcity. I'll go into that in another video. I'm not going to waste time with it in this one because it'll take too long to unpack. But basically it means living, not just living on less than you make, but living on far less than you make. Far less. That is also not a coincidence. That is a great way to get out of debt, but it is also a great way to get rich, especially if you're middle class. I'm going to make a video about that too, eventually. But today I just want to make a video on being debt-free versus having debt. Having debt, commonly known as normal, is what most people are in right now. Probably you. I mean, you have a car payment, you have a house payment, you have a motorcycle payment, you have I had a lawnmower payment. Believe that? How embarrassing is that? Had a lawnmower payment. That's ridiculous. But car payment, truck payment, boat payment, Harley payment, or maybe a Sea-Doo, or maybe it's a Razor payment, house payment on top of all that, because you got to have that bougie 2,800 square foot house, don't you? So what I did here is wrote out a little this versus that. It's going to be two people living in same town. Probably don't live on the same street, but same town. Both of them make $100,000 a year. I'm going to say households because it may not be one person, but let's just say, we'll just say household. We'll say man and wife because I actually got some numbers here that will reflect a man and a wife. So the person who carries the debt, the normal person, has monthly bills of $3,500. Now that is food, utilities, phone, all the monthly bills you pay outside of payments. If you just have plain old bills. I borrowed that from our own monthly bills. I would tell you that we actually spend far less than that because we still live on for scarcity, even though we're not in debt. The other half of that I was talking about, get into the RICH, that's what we're doing now. And so we're living on about a fifth of what we make. So we live on about $3,000 a month. So you could tighten that budget. You may be able to do less than $3,500. If you're raising 4 kids, probably more than $3,500. But for this example, both of these couples are going to be living on $3,500 a month. Now this is while they're still working. It's before retirement. So you got $3,500 in bills. You got $750 in a car payment, $850 in a truck payment, $1,000 on a boat payment, because if you price boats, especially new ski boats, we just came back from the boat show Saturday, and there was not a single, I think they call them W bottom boats, ski boats with ballast and makeup wakes and things like that. Wasn't a single one there less than 100 grand. I think they're all around 150 to start. Unreal what the sport boat market is right now. Harley payment, gotta have a freaking Harley. You're a red-blooded American. I got one. Hell, I got 2 bikes. Only one of them ain't a Harley. Gotta have a Harley. That's a Cheap part of two, $600. That's not even the nice one. $600 payment. Then you got a house payment. Now this ain't a bougie house. I said a bougie house. $1,400 a month. That's not a bougie house. I have friends that have bougie houses, and they're anywhere from $3,500 to $4,000 a month. This is just a middle class income family's house. $1,400 a month. For a grand total of $8,100 a month. Well, they make $100,000 a year. Well, what's 100,000 divided by 12? Well, I can tell you it's about $9,000 a month. It's right around there. It's actually a little less. It's about $8,500 because 8 times 12 is 96. So a little over $8,000. So you're just scraping by, and that's what most of you are doing. You're normal. You're just scraping by, and this isn't to shame you. I'm just saying I know who you are. I'm looking in a mirror right now because I used to be that guy too. I had a car payment, truck payment, house payment, boat payment, and a lawnmower payment. At the time I did not have a Harley payment. Thank goodness. But I had 5 payments, just like right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. House, truck, car, toy. Okay? That's pretty average. If anybody's disagreeing with that, put in the comments down below. But I'd say that's pretty average, about $8,100 a month. And you're making, we'll call it $8,400 a month. After taxes, you're probably upside down, so we probably should put some credit card debt in there too. But let's say you get cheaper on the monthly bills. You get rid of a subscription, or maybe you buy a little less Harley, or maybe you buy a little less truck, or maybe you buy a little less house. You could probably squeeze that in there on that $100,000. But either way, let's just say that's the average. Now, we go to the debt-free family over here. They've got the same bills. Same exact bills. Only difference is they got a big old goose egg under the rest. Their bills are $3,500. They're both making the same wage. Well, now, $8,000, a little over $8,000 a month, after they've paid their bills, minus taxes, of course, they're probably still pocketing about $3,000. But because they are, forward thinking about retirement, they're socking away, say, 25% to a 401k through the job. Maybe putting away another couple hundred just for savings, just for an emergency fund. And just taking care of life with that extra money. And, build up a savings, because just because they don't have a truck payment don't mean they don't have a truck. Just because they don't have a car payment don't mean they have a car or a boat. They probably have all these same things. They just paid cash for them. So instead of paying these monthly bills, they save up and pay for them without interest. Which, paying for something without interest, you may not know this, I'll enlighten you. If you pay with something without interest, means you pay face value. When you pay for something on interest, you pay a yearly interest fee. I'm surprised how many people don't know that part. And I was teasing about the first part. One's cheaper than the other, but the second part blows people away. A lot of people think that when they buy something for $10,000 and pay for it over 5 years, and they're told they pay a 7% interest rate, they actually think that's 7% of the $10,000. They don't realize that it's 7% of the $10,000 the first year, and then 7% of the remaining balance the second year, and then 7% of the remaining balance the next year. They keep paying that 7% on whatever they owe on principal every single year until it's paid. So if you know how compounding interest works, if you are in the stock market and you have $100,000, if it just sits there, just in the regular old market, just regular old mutual funds tied to the New York Stock Exchange or tied to the S&P 500, whatever, every 7 years it doubles. Now, if you got an interest payment that's 10 or 11%, it'll do the same thing. But let's say you're down around 4 or 5%. So probably somewhere around 15 years, around 13 to 15 years, yours is going to double. So if you bought a house, let's say for $100,000, in 15 years you're going to have paid $200,000 on that house. That's just off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, leave it in the comments. Correct me. You know, I'm just giving you off the top of my head, dumb truck driver math here. I don't usually do public math, but I'm doing it here. So, in a month, one side's paying $8,100, one side's paying $35. Now, if you do that during life, you're getting by, hey, you're surviving. Some people can't even do that. Some people don't have the Harley, don't have the boat. At least you got that. Let's look at retirement. Let's look where it really, really starts to hit home. Now in retirement, you've managed to put away $500,000, even though you were scrimping by to pay that $8,100 every month. You managed to put away $500,000. So a 4% rule means you get to pull out 20%. I'm sorry, $20,000 a year, which roughly estimates to $1,667 a month. That combined with $2,500 Social Security for you, $1,500 Social Security for your spouse, and we'll throw in a pension, $2,000 a month. You are now bringing in $7,667. Well, if you still have these payments, you are broke. If all you have is the $3,500, well, now you've got extra money. You're doing pretty damn good. You got a paid for house, paid for cars, all that. You're doing damn good. That's looking really good. Over here, that's what that looks like. That same $3,500 they got to pay each month. They got the same return, same retirement, same everything. It's just now only $3,500 comes out of this versus $8,100 trying to come out of that. This is how you get ahead in the middle class. I see it so often now. That's why I'm making a video about that. That's why I'm making videos in general, as I see so much around me of people that are hopeless. They just, I mean, literally have given up. They go to work with their head hanging down because they don't even know why they're going to work, because they know that whatever they make that day, they owe more than that. They can't even pay their bills with the check they're going to get that week. They can't even pay their bills. They've got multiple credit cards, run up multiple credit card debt. They got a kid who's got college or student loan debt that's hopefully will get forgiven because they're not responsible there. They didn't teach their kids to be responsible. Now, I'm not mad at you. I'm not kicking dirt on you. I'm just trying to light a fire under you, like a fire got lit under me when I started listening to Dave Ramsey. Maybe not all of you got to hear Dave Ramsey. I'm a dumb trucker, and so I got to drive around, listen to this guy preach at me like my grandma, tell me how to get my shit straight. And thank God I listened, because I was on my way to burying myself like a lot of people are. I hear people say all the time, I'll never be able to retire, because they got to stay ahead of this. They got to keep making that $8,100 a month, or matching that $8,100, or trying to beat it, whatever, because they're always going to have payments. I've had so many people tell me, well, you're always going to have payments. Why? You don't have to have payments. You can be debt free. Now, you still got to buy things. But you know what? It's nice when you don't have payments. You have something else. You have money. Be debt free. Have some money. Start today.